Right, I'm going to go back to the Western Cape in a short time for that special inspection today by President Ramaphosa and members of his cabinet examining the readiness as far as the Western Cape government is concerned. But for now, though, I want to return to that government appeal on the lockdown regulations. And in that respect, we're joined now by the former public protector, now law professor at Stellenbosch University. There you see her. Thuli Madonsela, good afternoon to you. You write in the Financial Mail this week that you're expecting more people to push back against what you term perceived excesses. Why and in what way?
Thank you, Jeremy. Good afternoon to everyone. The pushback may be motivated by two things. One is the pain people are feeling from the social, economic, and psychological impact of being locked down and unable to conduct business and conduct social intercourse the way you've always done it. The second cause of the feedback, though, is being excluded from decision making, because government has sort of barricaded itself on one side and the people on the other. People are not privy to the considerations behind these rules, and all they can see is being screamed at by some of the ministers and being told you comply or something terrible is going to happen to you.
Government might turn round and say that they are simply acting in real time, that the situation not only changes from day to day but almost hour by hour, and sometimes it's difficult to do too much pre-planning.
That's very true. At the beginning, honestly, government had to be as agile as it were, and we applaud government for that. But if government had operated in terms of the Disaster Management Act, it would be having multidisciplinary teams as part of Section 5 of the Act that are continuously thinking through what needs to be done, even possibly drafting a new legislation that focuses on how we respond to pandemic instead of a generic legislation on responding to disaster. So I don't agree that you can't do both, consult with the people and plan ahead whilst responding as agile as possible to pressing challenges each hour.
So Thuli Madonsela, we have then this regulations judgment. Would it be your opinion then that it might pave the way for further legal challenges, given that the judge, Norman Davis, was fairly scathing about the way in which the regulations have been implemented in the first place?
Certainly the judgment may pave the way for further pushbacks using lawfare. However, it also paves the way for government to rethink some of the regulations. And I've listened to our colleague from GCIS saying that if a court of law forces government will change the regulations. That should not be the response. The response would be, yes, we're going to appeal this judgment because it's excessive and confusing in some of its provisions, but we will take it and use it as a mirror to rethink the regulations, and where there are real concerns around social justice, which there are, and there are real concerns around rationality, which there are, we are going to make the changes even before a higher court tells us to do so.
Professor Madonsela, just a final question. Then you also write in the Financial Mail this week that, or you question how long, and I quote you, this edifice is going to hold. Are you suggesting that we're at some sort of tipping point here?
At the time I wrote it, it was 3 weeks ago, I was concerned, and I had just received a very desperate cry from somebody whose dad had died, and they were organizing a funeral, and suddenly we realized that the government has decided who can come to your funeral, and the people you wanted to your funeral can't be there. And in the meantime, there were so many people that were calling hungry, calling their businesses closing, people from villages saying they can't be assisted as a group because government says they can only come as individuals. So there were so many concerns 3 weeks ago. Some of those concerns have been reduced because we've gone to level 3. But I still do feel that we are in a very precarious position. It's better now with level 3, but it can take a small thing to light a fire. And if that fire implodes, none of us are safe. And therefore we have to be preemptive and work with government to make sure that people do feel that the law is reasonable and that what they're being asked to do, as the little prince says, is not to throw themselves into the sea.
Quoting a very famous book, the former public protector, Professor Thuli Madonsela in Stellenbosch. Thank you. I want to